Like you got some flamage over there. Because this is what told us today was the day to brew. Let me get you in close here. Over here on this side is the spigot. My hops have all kind of interbred through the years, so but I'm assuming this is more of a Cascade hop. It's very mild. Welcome to RC Garden. Well, hey, it's Rick here, and welcome back to RC Gardens. Today, as I mentioned in one of the little shorts we dropped, we're going to start brewing some beer. So I'm going to kind of walk you through and show you how I brew beer. And as I mentioned in the short, Kent from DrunkenMutt channel is here. So if you haven't subscribed to him, you want to slip on over there to DrunkenMutt and check him out. And also, he has another channel called TadlocksToolshed, so you might want to check both of those out. And of course, don't forget our main channel is RCindustry for all the car shenanigans we do. So head on over there and check that out as well. But thanks for coming along right now, and I'll kind of walk you through and show you what we're going to do. First thing we need to talk about is the almanac here. So, because this is what told us today was the day to brew. So, you know, you can look all kinds of stuff up on that almanac, when to plant seeds, which we've talked about on this channel. And you can also, you know, find out when it's time to cut your boar hogs and just all that kind of stuff. It's all in there, tells you exactly when to do it. So, all right, show you more. Well, the first thing we're going to brew today is this light. It's going to be just a light beer. So I've got, we're going to do what I call a light boil. So we're not going to have to make our own our own syrup or anything, malt. But we are going to, before we put that in there, we are going to boil some rice. Rice, the starch that will come out of that rice will crispen up this beer. And we're also going to put some saffron in it. I've been soaking saffron for 24 hours. Just a pinch. You don't want a whole lot, guys. And then we're going to put about a teaspoon of gypsum in it. And then these hops, these are just probably, my hops have all kind of interbred through the years. So, but I'm assuming this is more of a Cascade hop. It's very mild. So these are off of my vines from last year. So you can go over to the video and check that out if you want the big harvest, if you will. So we're going to use that. And then we've got sugar, got 6 cups of sugar, and we're going to go over all of this in detail. But this is going to be the first thing we're going to brew. All right, show you more. Okay, so before we get started too much out there, what I want to do is I'm going to take my yeast, and this is just a simple lager yeast, and we're not going to be lagering this, but we're going to use this yeast. And I've got a teaspoon of just regular house sugar in this glass. So what I want to do is put some hot water. So I'm going to turn my tap on and get it warming up because it takes a little while on this sink. So we're going to get some warm water there. We're going to fill this thing up maybe a little over halfway. And then we're going to stir that up, stir the sugars up in it. And we're going to add this yeast to it and stir it up. And then we're going to set it in here so that it can be the inside temperature. You want it like 70 degrees or so, because it's going to go ahead and start growing the yeast. And as it does, it'll start foaming. And the foam should reach pretty close to the top by the time we get the simple brew done out there. And then we'll just actually incorporate this right in. So let me get some water here. So it's warm now. So let's put some water in that. Just stir that up like that. And then we're going to open this up. We'll probably have to have some scissors here. So let's open this up. Let me tilt you down here where you can see what's going on. Maybe. Okay, so there's that. So let me cut the end of this off. And then we're going to stir this right in there. I can call this a yeast starter, or I'm starting my yeast. Now, if I was going to brew this beer over and over again, I would actually save my dregs in the bottom and restart the yeast from that, and just keep it in the refrigerator once it starts growing, and it'll last for a long time if you choose to do it that way. So just kind of incorporate all this down in there, and I just let it set right there just like that. All right, show you more. So in this pan here, before we get started too much here, I just took my can of malt there, and I'm just gonna set it in this big pan, and I've got some water over here that's getting ready to boil. And once that boils, just because I want some hot water, I'm gonna pour that in here and let this can start getting warmed up, because it's going to be easier to scoop that malt out with a spatula once it's been setting in some hot water. Like you got some flamage over there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we got here is the water is starting to boil, so that's a good thing. So we're going to take this water and we're going to dump it into here. All right, show you more. All right, so this thing is burling now, so let's shut that off. And careful, guys, this gets hot. Now let's pour this right in over top of this, just like so. And we don't care if the label soaks off of that. That's fine. I'm going to, in fact, lay it down in there so that it will actually. You can kind of see it there, probably, I guess, but just let it get acclimated to some warm water. And out here in this cold, it won't take long for that to cool down. All right, show you more. Yeah. So we want to keep everything kind of sterilized. So I've already filled this jug up. And this one I started filling, and I'm like, I need to show you guys this. So I've got 3 tablespoons of One Step in there. And basically that's let me just show you that. That's a cleaner that you can use right here, and that'll sterilize these jugs, because they've been sitting in the basement, and you guys might have a clean basement, but I don't. So anyway, so we're going to fill this up with water, and I won't bore you with filling that the rest of the way up, but basically we're going to fill it up till it looks like this one, and then I'm going to stick a lid on it. Now this one we had already done that with, and I've put all of my utensils in here that I'm going to be using, because we're going to be using this here in just a minute to cook that rice in and to boil the hops. So yeah, so we're going to do that, and I'll finish filling this up, and then we're going to get some water going and start cooking the rice. All right, show you more. Okay, guys, so what I did was I got my fire going again, and the water is warming up. It's not hot yet, and I'm using this little thing. If you don't have one of these, you could use one of the bags. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. You could use something similar to this, a grain bag. You just don't want the solids down in here, so we just want the starch out of the rice. So with that being said, I'm going to pour the rice in here and let it start cooking. And actually, once you cook this rice and it gets soft, the rice actually tastes good. But because we're going to be cooking that with our hops, so we're going to pour that in there. And I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of this in here. This is a really mild hop that comes off of my hop plants back there. Hopefully we get some more of it this year. let me get you in close here. Okay, so here's what it looks like. And you can see it's just cooking, and that's going to swell up, and you can already see some of the simple starches. Let me move you in a little closer. You can already see from just looking at it that we're starting to get some of the simple starches out of that. So, and we just want the oil out of this hop to be in there as well. So we're going to let that boil. And then once it boils, I'm going to turn it down and kind of simmer it for about 20 minutes. All right, show you more. Okay, so you can see that that stuff is beginning to boil there. So what I want to do is turn that down because we want this to continue to cook. And I've got my timer set over here on 20 minutes, right there on the fender of that old lime la-ti-da. So anyway, we're going to let that simmer there for about 20 minutes, cook the rest of the starches out of that, and then I'll show you more. Okay, so the timer went off, so our 20 minutes is good. So we're going to shut this off like so. And you can see that that has cooked up. It was like this far, and now it's up to here. So we're just going to kind of let that drain out. I don't want to squeeze this or press it because I don't want any of the debris to get pushed through this screen. So I'm going to sit here and hold this for a little bit, let that drain, and then I'll show you more. Okay, so we've let this sit in this hot water for quite a while now. So we're going to take that out, put this down here out of the way, and we're going to open this up. And you can already smell it, so that's good, because it's warm. We'll get us a spatula, and now we're going to put this barrel up here, this bucket. Let me see if I can get you over here where you can see this better. And we're just going to pour. Now this bucket is, we sterilized the bucket, and we got us a stirring spoon in here. It's been sterilized. And we sterilized the spigot, and we want everything clean because we don't want any residue left in there from anything else, because when we pitch the yeast, we want the yeast that we're using to be the dominant yeast here. Now we're brewing outside, obviously, so you've got all of the air that has all kinds of stuff in it that can affect your beer, good or bad. So, but hey, the almanac says today's the brewing day, so it must know that it's okay. All right, so just pour all this in here, like so. And it comes out of there real easy because it's warm. It's not so warm you can't touch the can, but I think you get the idea here. Okay. Just get all of that out of there, because what you've got is you want as much of this extract out of here as you can get. Okay. So let me set this bucket down, and let's take some of our hot water that we just boiled our rice in, and let's pour this in here, just like that. And again, we're going to stir this up just because we want to get all of this stuff out of here. Because this is where your flavor and your starches and your malt is all in here. Okay, so now we're going to come down over here and pour this back into our bucket, like so. Okay, so it's pretty clean. All right, so there's one. Now, we're going to pour the rest of this in here, and we're starting out with about a gallon of hot water. And you know this has been boiling, so it's hot. Well, now we're going to stir all that wort up, and we're also, at this point, we're going to add the sugar in. So let me get the sugar. So we're going to add the sugar in here, just like so. And I've already measured this out. It takes 6 cups of this corn sugar per 5 gallons. And that should, we'll do the hydrometer test on it here in a minute, but that should get our AVA up to probably somewhere, well, it'll wind up being somewhere around 4 or 4.5%, which is not real strong. So, okay, so we've got that. Now, I want to incorporate in a couple of things that you don't have to have or don't have to use, but we're going to put a teaspoon, or a full teaspoon. I'm going to use 2 halves because the full won't go down in here, of gypsum. So I don't know if this is just rock dust or what this is, but this will crispen it up as well, just like the rice. So we'll put that in there. And then, as we talked about at the beginning of this video, I've got my saffron that's been soaking overnight. And you can see that the little saffron, and we don't want to put this down in there, but we want the liquid off of it. So here is your saffron. It's actually starting to grow. So, but we're not going to use that part. So let's get this out of here best we can. And then let's pour this directly in there. Okay, so we're going to stir this up. And that sugar will dissolve pretty quickly because we're not using regular table sugar here. So we're using the corn syrup, like I said. So, all right, now what we're going to do, we've got that stirred up. So we're going to set it down on the ground, and we're going to fill this thing up to the 5-gallon mark, the US 5-gallon mark, and then we'll take it inside and we'll pitch our yeast. All right, show you more. Okay, so what I'm doing is filling this up with water, and I don't want to push it in there real hard, but I want to get it up to the 5-gallon mark, and then we'll stir it, and we'll take it inside, and we'll set it where we're going to ferment the beer. Because right now we have what's called wort. So once we pitch the yeast to it, it's going to start working and creating the alcohol, because it changes the sugars and starches to alcohol. All right, let me get this filled up and I'll show you more. Okay, so I'm going to take my hydrometer in here, and then what this is going to do is it's going to read us the potential sugar on here, and then we'll record this at the beginning, and then at the end, once this completes working and it goes down to 0, then we'll subtract that out of there, and that'll be our potential alcohol. So let's see what we got here. So she's floating pretty high, and we did add the 6 cups of sugar, but we also had that rice, which will add some starch to it. So let's see what we got here. Looks like we are at so if we follow the 5 around here. So yeah, we're at, it's not quite 5. It's about 4 3/4 or something like that. So it'll be pretty close to 5%. So 4.5 to 5% is what we're going to wind up with once this works down to 0. All right, show you more.
cookie, it's smoother than the color.
Okay, so I went in and got our yeast that we started, and you can tell from the previous when we stirred it up. See, it's built all this up on here. So we're going to stir that back down because we want to get all of that in there. And then we're just going to dump that in there like so. I like to try to get as much out of it as I can because that's what makes the beer, or makes the alcohol out of the wort, or whatever you want to call it. So, okay, so there's that. Now we're going to snap the lid on this. And we have to put an airlock on this yet, so we're going to snap the lid on. Over here on this side is the spigot. So I want to put the airlock to the back of that spigot, because you got to be careful when you're carrying this that you don't break that off. Obviously you don't want to lose all your fluids. So we're just going to snap this on. Like so. There, she snapped. Now let me get an airlock. And this is an airlock, and that's going to go right in there. So, but I'm not going to put that in there yet till we carry this into the laundry room, which is where I let this perk, as I call it. So the wife loves that because it stinks up the laundry room. So, and we're going to have 4 jugs like this in there, so that ought to really be going over good the next couple of weeks. All right, show you more. Well, hey, it's Rick here, and I really appreciate you tuning in to see how we brewed the beer. We showed you how we brewed one batch of beer, and basically I wound up brewing 3 more batches of beer for a total of 15 or 20 gallons. And Kent wound up doing from DrunkenMutt and TadlocksToolshed. He wound up doing I think four batches, and I think 2 of them were ciders. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for everybody that stopped by yesterday. Some of the footage that I took during the whole event yesterday didn't turn out. When I went to download it, it isn't even there, and I know the camera was running. So anyway, I know a lot of the neighbors came by and different things, and we actually pretty well drank up everything that we had, or that I had, you know, basically, I don't want to say to get rid of, but, you know, you keep beer around for so long. Some of it I've kept for a long time, and it grows and gets better as age goes on, but, you know, some of it, it's time to drink it up, you know. That's what you make it for. And so, anyway, so thanks to everybody that came out, and and thanks for tuning in. Be sure and like and share. And I'll take you at the end of this. I mean, this is the end. I'm saying goodbye and thanks and all that. But I'll take you a little clip into the laundry room where we actually have all the beer setting, and you'll be able to see it's already perking and working its way and turning the sugars into alcohol. So that's what it's supposed to do. So anyway, be sure and like and share. And if you haven't checked out our main channel, that's RCindustry. So you can go over there and check out that channel. That's where we do most of our car stuff. That's the main channel. And this channel's for gardening and cooking and all, brewing beer and whatever. And then we also have the DuBois County Flips channel. So you can go check that one out if you like doing home repairs. And I used to flip houses. That's one of the things I did for a living. So all of that stuff, man, there's a lot of video on there of houses that we fixed up and sold and different stuff. So you can head over and check that out. So anyway, again, thanks for coming along, and you know, just get out there and try, you know, cook up some kind of meal, grow something in your garden, brew some beer, make some wine, do something. See you next time. Bye.